Hello everyone. I know it's been a really long time since I last filmed, but I'm back today with another video. So please bear with me, it's been a really long time. So it's been 4 years since my wedding, and I wanted to recreate the look that I did on my own Nikkah. I did my own makeup for it, and I really liked the way that it turned out. And the best part is it's actually quite a wearable look. It's basically a matte eye look with a sharp wing and a pretty plain face, just trying to enhance the features that I like about myself the most. I wear it time and time again. Obviously you can glam it up with all of the Nikkah accessories, false lashes and things. I won't be doing that today, but I'll insert some photos of what it looked like on the day of. Other than that, the products that I'm using are not all the same. Obviously it's been 4 years, and some of the techniques that I've used nowadays are very different than the techniques that I used at that time. So I think I'll be basically doing like a look inspired by that. I can't do the exact one, but I'll mention where I can the products that I used the day of and what I would prefer now. So let's get into it. On the day of, I definitely used, also my mirror is right over here, so that's probably where I'm gonna be looking most of the time to actually do the makeup. Even though if you're wearing this casually, you probably don't need to do the eyes first. You could probably get away with doing the base first because, like I said, you're not using a ton of dark colors on the eyes. It's mostly like light and matte. But I know that I did my eyes the day of first, and that's just so that I could, you know, clean up around the eyes and make sure that my wing was as crisp as can be. In order to get a very crisp wing and a really nice eye look, I always like to take a little bit of tape and put it at the corner of my eyes, and then that way you don't have to be as neat with your eye makeup. And then once you remove this at the end, then you'll have a crisp line. So I'm just applying tape. I've taken off some of the sticky of the tape by applying it to the back of my hand first and then removing it from there. So now it's not as sticky and it won't tug that much when I come to take it off of the delicate skin under the eye. So I'm basically just applying it, following the line of my lower lash line up to the tip of my eyebrow. Most important thing over here is to get it even with each other. I also like to use like sticky tapes, or I mean, some cosmetic companies have come out with their own eye tapes. They're specifically meant for this purpose, but Scotch tape will work just fine too. And also, as usual, there may be Lola appearances. She seems to be a little bit hyper right now. Okay, so for the eyes, the first thing that I want to do is prime them. Oh, also I forgot to mention that my skincare is done. My skin is moisturized. I have some lip balm on my lips, and my eyebrows are filled in partially. I'll put some brow gel in it afterwards, but they're filled in for now, and I've curled my eyelashes. Okay, so I'm going in with a little bit of a eyeshadow primer. Like I said, I don't have the same products, a lot of the same products that I used on my actual Nikkah day, so you can use whatever products you have that are similar to this. I'm not going to try to make this super product focused. The one that I'm using is by Milani. It's their just long wear shadow base, and you don't need a whole lot, just a tiny bit. On the day of, I actually started with using a color the same shade as my skin. I guess you could use concealer and a powder over it. That would also probably achieve the same look. Basically, I just want to kind of create a blank canvas for me to work on. But because I don't have that, I will go on to the next step. The next step is taking maybe a bronzer of your choice. This is the bronzer that I use for my face, so I'm just going to incorporate that into the eye. It'll make the look quite cohesive then. So I'm gonna go with that, and I'm gonna directly go right into the crease. Now this is super soft, it's not harsh, it's not a very dark brown or anything like that. It's just adding a little bit of definition into the eye crease. And the function of this tape also is like you don't have to worry about going outside of the lines over here because the tape will catch all of it. Now I'm going to take a brush that is used to pack on eyeshadows, and I'm actually gonna go in with a matte light shade and start on the inner corner and start applying that. Okay, this is actually quite pigmented. I don't think the one that I used on my wedding day was even this pigmented. Okay, that's okay. We're gonna start at the inner corner and then go towards the center of the eye. I'm just using this light eyeshadow and going up to the crease and then bringing it out. It does look like I have a little bit of dryness on my eyelid over here, and that's why there's a little bit of pigment that is stuck. For reference, I am using the Anastasia Soft Glam palette today, the palette that I used that day. I no longer have, but I think that's like a decent base to start out with now. Once we are done with that, I'll take a smaller, more detailed crease brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Rustic over here. It's a little bit deeper than the bronzer that I used. So if you compare the two, okay, on camera it's coming up quite similar, but it's a little bit deeper than the shade that I just used in the crease. So I'm gonna take that onto my detailed crease brush, and I'm going to start at the outer corner over here and bring that down onto the outer corner of the lash line and a little bit out into the outer corner of the crease over here. The trick is to get a nice blended makeup look that doesn't look too harsh anywhere. You definitely want to start with small amounts of product in the beginning. It's okay to build up. If you have to go in 4 or 5 times in order to build up to the color that you want and pigmentation level that you want, that is better than just going in all at once and having to blend out a lot of product. It's easier to build up than it is to blend out. So I'm just taking a small amount to the outer, let's say third of the lash line, this outer corner right here, and then dragging that a little bit into the crease right here. I'm going to take a relatively clean blending brush, and I'm going to blend the edges out of that and blend that into the lighter matte shade that we used on the rest of the lid, just to soften the transition from the light shade to the darker shade. I think that looks relatively blended to my eyes. We're actually pretty much done with the eyeshadow for now. I'll add in a bit of the same light matte shade right to the brow bone right here. A little bit of highlight right there. I'm not bringing it too far down. I am not one to cut my or carve my eyebrows out. I wonder if I did on the day of. I can't remember actually. Might have been something that I could do just for that crisp look. But today I'm trying to make it slightly more wearable. Now it's time for the eyeliner application. So I'm going to use a liquid black eyeliner. Oh, okay, very interesting. Mine's kind of bubbling out a little bit. Hopefully that doesn't mean that it's gone bad. Okay, so I've shaken it up. I prefer a pen style, but you can use whatever like pot style you like. I also prefer a brush tip. They're a little bit more flexible and a little bit more precise. So this is a brush tip, but you could use whichever eyeliner you have. Another variation you could do is use brown liner even. So what I'm doing first is I am kind of following the line of this tape that I made. That's why it's so important, because that's what's going to determine the angle of your eyeliner as well. It's okay if you go outside a little bit onto the tape, meaning. And I'm going to start where I want my wing to end, which is about over here. Bring that to the lash line. Okay, we can adjust it afterwards. I'm just trying to lay down a little bit of a base right now. So that's what I'm going to do at the outer corner. And I like to keep my eyes open while I'm doing the wing. As I've aged, my eyes have become a little bit more hooded, so I need to adjust the eyeliner technique that I use. Because I have hooded eyes, the creases of my eye over here extend outwards a little bit more, so I have to adjust my technique in order to compensate for those. So with the rest of it, I can do what I normally do. Wow, my eyeliner is for some reason choosing to leak for some reason. I'm going to work with it regardless. Now the rest of it, I'm going to just apply a very thin line at the very bases of my lash. I don't know what's happening to my eyeliner right now. Oh my god, look at this. So much has come off just from my eyelashes. I don't know what's going on with my eyeliner. Oh. Okay, we're going to try to make this work. Was not expecting my eyeliner to give up on me today. You've done a line. You can try to make it as perfect as you can. it's not the end of the world if it's not absolutely perfect, just because we are going to go and set it with a shadow, which should soften it just a little bit. Let's try this side. Hopefully this will be a little bit better. That's a little bit better. Now we're going to take into account the other side where that ended, and in the exact same spot on this side, I'm going to place a line starting from there to the lash line. Okay. It's okay once again if it goes onto the tape. It has a little bit over there. And I'm going to fill in this triangle. Okay, my eyeliner does not seem to want to work with me today. That one so far has turned out better than this eye, at least. I'm gonna take a cotton bud and some micellar water, just because this is feathering out a little bit too much. I do want to keep it a little bit thinner on the inner corner. I think what I'm gonna have to do is apply a little bit more primer to this area. I think what I'll do is I'll take that same Q-tip, the same cotton bud, and do the same from the other side as well, just to make it a little bit even. And I think that is the best I can do for now. We shall move forward. So now that I've laid down the eyeliner, I think what I'll do is touch up with powder. So I'm gonna take a angled eyeliner brush and I'm gonna dip into a black matte eyeshadow. Tap off the excess, and now I'm going to retrace that entire area where I did the eyeliner. I basically want to go all on top of that eyeliner just to set it down and to make that color a little bit more soft. I also want to make sure just to go over the absolute edge of that eyeliner, the top edge, and that will help smooth out any of those tiny little mistakes that we made. As you come towards the inner corner, you do want to make sure to try to keep it a little bit thinner. And you see that eyeliner is a little bit softer than this one. I know it still is going to look a little bit crazy just because of the tape, but once the tape is removed, you'll see. Just trying to pack this eyeshadow on. Okay, I think that is good enough for now. What I think I'll do is remove this eye tape now. We're done with the upper eyelid, and we'll come back later at the end of the makeup look, towards the end of the makeup look, and apply our mascara, other eyeliner, and then we'll work on our lower lash line as well. Now we can remove the tape. And you can see that it's a lot sharper of a line. And all of this makeup has come off onto the tape, but luckily we don't have to worry about that. It's not where we don't want it. Take off the other one, and that is super satisfying. We have a nice crisp wing now. Okay, and they do look quite relatively even in my opinion as well. So we're not going to touch the eyes for now, like I said. We'll come back to them later. Let's continue on with our face makeup. I just removed some of the eyeliner that exploded onto my hand as well. I don't know what's going on with that. I may have to get rid of that eyeliner now. Okay, now we're moving on to our base makeup. On the day I probably definitely use some type of pore filling primer. Today I'm not going to bother. My skin, like I said, is as prepped as it can be, as hydrated as it can be, and this is super dry weather. I have very dry skin. It's not faring well these days. So I'm gonna use a color corrector underneath my eyes. Over here, this is a peach corrector, and this one is by LA Girl, and I'm pretty sure I would have used this one, honestly, on the day of. I think if my Nikkah was happening these days, then I would use the Huda Beauty corrector, but I still have this product, so I'm going to use this for now. So I have color corrected underneath my eyes, and I'm also going to color correct around my mouth, especially right at these corners where I have the most darkness. And then I'll bring that outwards towards the rest of this muzzle area. Now I'm going to blend out my color corrector, and I'm using the Deluxe Crease Brush from Real Techniques for this. Color corrector is done. Now I'm going to use the foundation. I know for a fact that on the day of, I definitely used my beloved NARS Sheer Glow foundation. I was in the shade Santa Fe, but I have gone through that since and replaced it with another NARS product. This is the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation, and I used the shade L4 Deauville. Another thing I wanted to note was that if I were doing my makeup these days, then I definitely would be underpainting. But I didn't on that day, and so I won't today. So I'm going to squeeze about a pump of that onto my hand. This time I'm going to use the Expert Face Brush by Real Techniques as well. Now I'm going to really smush my brush into that product on the back of my hand. What's doing is priming the brush. And this way you'd get a really nice finish on your face makeup. I'm going to start towards the center of the face and start building up. Now this is going to also be super, super light layers. It doesn't matter if you're going full glam or everyday or anything. I really suggest starting with very, very light layers and then building up where you need to. I'm kind of stamping the product instead of buffing it like that. And that's mostly because my skin is super flaky, and if I kind of rub the brush into my skin, it's definitely going to pick up flakes and make those a little bit more apparent. So I'm going to avoid that. I think if you've watched my previous videos, I definitely am a medium coverage, natural finish kind of girl. Even on my Nikkah, I did use NARS Sheer Glow, which is not, in my opinion, a very high coverage foundation. I think you can get it, but I think it's solid medium to high coverage. I did use a high coverage foundation on my Bridal, but honestly, that was the last time I used a high coverage foundation. So I think I'm going to need a little bit more product. So I'm going to go back with another pump, the product in the back of my hand, and do the same thing. I'm going to prime the brush, load up the brush with product, and I'll do the other side of the face. And you can see the difference between both halves of my face. Even with the foundation, I've kind of avoided the under eye because I know I'm going to apply some concealer over there. I don't want it to be super product laden. Don't want so many layers of product, especially in a place that already has creases, which is under my eye. Kind of focusing this on the rest of my face. And then I'll deal with the under eyes after this. Now, depending on your own problem areas, I could have color corrected with a green color corrector around my nose and on any red blemishes that I had. I honestly don't have the perfect green corrector right now, so I won't go down that route right now. I want to say that this is fine. I don't want to pick up any more flakes off my skin. I don't know if you can see them on camera, but I can definitely see them in the mirror. So I think I'm going to call it over there. I definitely want to blend it down onto my neck as well, a little bit. Okay, now we can move on to concealer. To be honest, I don't even remember which concealer I used on my actual wedding day. I should have written it down somewhere. Today, I will be using the Catrice True Skin 18-Hour Hydrating Concealer. And I'm using the shade 010 Cool Cashmere. I really like this concealer. I wish the shade was slightly pinker. It does say cool, but I feel like it could have been a little bit more pinker for me. Gonna go here under my eyes. I never take my concealer up just under to my lash line because I have the most creases around there. And there's more of a chance that some type of concealer is going to get stuck in those creases and actually emphasize those lines rather than hide them. So I will definitely start my concealer where the darkest area is under my eyes and these hollows. And now I'm going to let it set a little bit and come back to it and blend it out. I'll always put my concealer from the corners of my mouth upwards and outwards. I don't know why. I didn't learn that from anywhere. Down the center of my nose and a little bit on the forehead. And I guess I could do a little bit on the chin as well. And honestly, I could probably do around the nose as well, just for a little bit of extra coverage. I'm going to let that set for like a minute so that the coverage is enhanced a little bit. And once that has set, I can start blending out what's on my face. So what I'm going to use is this e.l.f. Complexion Duo brush. I'm going to use the smaller side just to keep this contained to where I want it. I'll start out where I don't need as much coverage because we've already had put the foundation over here. Just wanted a little bit of brightness on the center of my forehead. And then we'll go down the bridge of the nose and highlight that a little bit. Chin, around the nose. I used to put concealer around my nose all the time. I haven't in a while. I don't know why. Out to the mouth. It looks a little bit harsh right now, but I'm about to blend it in a little bit more. I can take the other side of this brush and blend that out a little bit more like that. And then now we can move on to the under eyes. Another reason I like to do the eyes beforehand, if I'm using tape that day, is that where I had to do my base makeup and then apply the tape over here. When I removed the tape, I would have removed all of the foundation and concealer over here. So it's just better to do that afterwards, so you don't have to go back in with product again. Now you can see that I am blending it over these eye bags, but I still am not bringing it all the way to that lash line, lower lash line. I definitely want to keep it below that. I don't want any extra product over there. Going in with the larger side of the brush just to kind of blend that out a little bit more. Now I feel like those are the coverage products done. We can touch up as we go if necessary. So I think what we're gonna do now is blend this a little bit more. I have a damp beauty sponge over here. Please ignore these sponges need to be washed right now. So now I'm gonna go with the beauty sponges and I'm gonna really set that product into my skin. And this just gives for the most natural coverage. And if I do have any major flakes, I have noticed that this helps with just kind of pushing those back down. For the under eyes, I have a smaller sponge that can fit a little bit better, so I will use that. Okay, now we can move on to the next step. I think I will use contour now. This look entirely is a little bit cooler, so I definitely used a contour color rather than a bronzer this day. So this one is Fawn. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour stick, and this is quite light. So obviously, depending on your own skin tone, you want to use what suits you the best. But I really liked the undertone of this. This is a very cool toned grayish type of contour, and I don't know why I just applied it directly to my face. I don't really do that anymore. What's better to do is either take the product onto a brush directly from the stick, or apply it to the back of your hand and take it up onto a brush from the back of your hand and then apply it. And that way you won't have to blend out as much. And I'm just applying a little bit onto the hollows of my cheeks, kind of blending upwards to give a little bit more of a lifted effect. Really loading that brush up with the product before it hits your face. You can see the product on the brush as well. I'm going to use that same contour to go into the hairline as well. I don't love contours that are too deep for my skin. Honestly, in the past few years, I have been trying to give them a go, but I just don't like the look on me as much. I really prefer something that's only a few shades deeper than my own skin tone. I'm going to take this onto my jawline as well, under the chin. And then with either a smaller brush or this brush has an angle to it, so I can use that top part of the angle as well. But if you want, you could use a smaller brush. I'm going to take some product onto that and apply it to the sides of my nose for a nose contour. I do feel like I blended this side's contour a little too low, so I will show you how I would fix that as well. And once I'm done blending out with the brush, I will go back in, with the same beauty sponge that I used before and blend out the edges of those contours. I just don't like a very harsh contour at all on myself. There, I feel like that's given us enough structure to the face a little and brought back some of the dimension that we took out from the foundation without looking too harsh. So just by blending it out, some of that mistake that I had made is a little bit better. And then we can fix the rest with some powder as well. But before that, I do want to go in with blush. So I definitely used this very dirty, very old Honest Beauty Cream Cheek Blush in the shade Rose Pink. It's very beat up, but I do love this blush. I will use, for today, I will start off with a brush. I'm loading up the brush with the product from the pan, and then once again using the back of my hand as a palette, I'm going to really distribute that evenly within the bristles of the brush. I definitely applied the blush towards the center of my cheeks and then outwards, but I know that that's not everyone's cup of tea. And honestly, these days what I've been really liking to do is applying the blush right just above where I would apply the contour and nowhere else. I blend it upwards and it gives a really, really nice effect. But I think what I'll do is I'll do something more similar to what I did on that day. So I'm going to start over here and build up the color and also blend it outwards mostly. I also like to take the blush up under the corner of my eye, outer corner of my eye. Doing the same thing over here. And finally, with whatever product is left over on the back of my hand, just picking some of that up and dusting that on the bridge of my nose. And then without any additional product, I'm just going to connect the blush on my cheeks to the one on my nose. Now, depending on which blush you use and what kind of event you were trying to go for, I didn't want, in the end, to have a very heavy blush look, so I blended out, going back in with that same beauty sponge and going over that blush to blend out any harsh edges, soften the look again. And once you set your face, you can easily go in with a powder blush just to kind of make sure that this won't move. But I go in with a heavy hand in the beginning, and then I just like the way that it fades a little bit. I don't want too heavy of a blush look. I think I brought this up in maybe another video, but as a child, I had very rosy cheeks naturally, and they would turn super, super red at like literally anything. So I couldn't hide any of my emotions. It was super embarrassing for me. So when I started makeup, I was very hesitant to use a whole lot of blush because I did not want to enhance that. I was using foundation to cover up the color in my skin. So I don't know, maybe I'm still traumatized. Anyways, I think I'm good with the blush so far. Now what we can do is, I took a powder foundation. So this is the Bare Minerals Original Foundation in the shade Fairly Medium 05. And I would have taken this with a powder brush and dusted that over my face. I don't feel like I want to do that today. It adds a little bit of coverage and definitely just like smoothens over those harsh lines if you have any left over from your contour and blush. But what I think I'll do today is I'm just going to do a bit of a selective powder underneath my eyes, and then maybe clean up where I made the mistakes on my cheek. So I have this like mini size of the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, and I will use that today instead of using the powder foundation before. I still would have set my under eyes with a different powder, but I'm just going to skip the whole face powder today. So the way that I do it is you want to knock some of the powder into the cap. Just a little bit, you don't need a whole lot. And you want to load up your powder puff. I suppose you could use a brush as well, but I just like using a powder puff these days. I definitely load up the powder puff with the product and then press it back into the back of my hand just to evenly distribute it throughout the puff. Let's not talk about the state of the puff, okay? What's really important is to pat out any of the creases underneath your eyes before. So you want to stretch out that skin with all the creases and make sure that none of the concealer has deposited and sitting inside of those creases while you're doing the rest of the makeup. One important thing that I've learned recently is that when you are powdering the under eyes, after you've set out the creases, you don't want to apply your powder in this position with your eyelids stretched, because the powder is just going to go into those creases, and once you relax your eyes and look straight forward, you're going to see all that product within the creases as well. So make sure that the product is out of the creases to begin with, but then when you're applying your powder, you definitely want to relax your eyes. You don't want to stretch that skin. And then you can apply the powder without it setting into your creases. Now I'm going to take that powder, whatever is left over, and I'm going to go down center of my face, around the nose, down into these nasolabial folds, and then onto the chin. And then what I'll do today is, and I don't normally do this, but just because I've made that mistake with my contour, I'm going to carve out that area a little bit more and apply a little bit of powder right underneath that contour. And that will lift it up a little bit more. Okay, and for the rest of the skin, I don't mind a little bit of a glowy finish, so I will keep that there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is move back to the eyes and try to finish up some of that a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, in order to intensify that upper lash line without adding technically any extra thickness, and also to remove that little gap that I have over here between my eyeball and the eyeliner, I'm going to take a pencil or a kajal or a kohl liner and place that into the upper waterline. Oh no, an eyelash went into my eye. I'll have to fish that out. And now you can see there is no gap between the eyeliner and my eyeball. One thing that is important is for you to use the longest lasting or longest wearing eyeliner that you can find, because for this look I didn't have any darkness in the lower lash line. The lower waterline. So whatever just transferred up from the bottom, I'm just removing it just a tiny bit. So I just don't want my lower waterline to have that. So just removing that with a Q-tip. And in order to further enhance that contrast, I'm going to go in with just like a nude pencil into the waterline. I really like the contrast that this look has to offer. I do tend to like these types of looks. I feel like they're a little bit retro, a little bit 60s inspired. But I think for my eye shape as well, I like the a dark, smoky, winged eyeliner. I feel like that suits it well. Plus the matte light eye on top and then the bright waterline underneath. I really like that look as well. And for the lower lash line, I will take a brush like this. Well, it's called a flat eyeliner brush, so I just use this to apply some powder to my lower lash line. So I think what I'll do is use the same Anastasia palette, and I'll go in with the shade that we used in our outer corner and our crease, called Rustic. It's just like a transition brown. And now once I have that product onto my brush, I'm going to apply it to the outer section of my lower lash line. So I want to connect it to the upper eyeliner. And this is another reason why you don't necessarily need a ton of concealer right at the lash line on the bottom, is because you're adding darkness there anyways. You don't need to cancel out it entirely in order to add it right back on. So this is adding just a little bit of definition to the outer portion of the eye, but not too much. I do want that main focus, like I said, to remain to the top lid. And I like that contrast of having the bare lower lash line. And honestly, that's really all I'm gonna do. If you wanted to, you could go a little bit deeper just towards the outer corner. You could put even a darker brown, or even go in with the tiniest touch of black towards the outer corner. But I think I'm going to leave it over here. Now we can do a little bit of troubleshooting, because I know we're coming up to the step of setting our face, and we wanna make sure that our face and our eyes are looking how we want them to at the end, because we don't want to set all of our mistakes into place. So I think what I'm gonna do is use a little bit of more of the black eyeshadow that we did to go over the eyeliner. And I've noticed that on this side, there is a little bit of a dip that's showing over here. So I want to kind of cover that up and make it a little bit more even with the other eye. So I think I'll use black eyeshadow to touch that up over here. Just make it even over here. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. I also am going to use just my pinky finger to kind of pat out that very, very edge of that eyeliner, just to make it a little bit softer. Before I apply some of the products that could leak a little bit more, I'm going to set my face. I'm using the Milani Make It Last. Make sure to spray it once or twice beforehand. Just make sure that the mister is working properly. You don't want to find out one day that your mister has stopped working on your face, so it'll deposit like big droplets of setting spray all over your face. I'm going to let that set for a second, and then I like to even push my setting spray into my face with that same beauty sponge that we've been using. Something that I rarely use these days, and therefore I almost forgot about it in this look, is a highlighter. So I will use a highlighter just because I definitely used a highlighter that day. And even though the makeup look is all matte, the eye look is all matte, I did want to add a little bit of glow to my face. So I'm using a powder highlight, a champagne color, and applying that after setting spray, because sometimes I've noticed the setting spray underneath will help highlighter pop a little bit more. And I'm not going very overboard with this at all. Just applying a very, very, very small amount to the very, very high tops of my cheeks, and a little bit on the bridge. With the remaining product on the brush, I haven't added any more product. The tip of my nose, this Cupid's bow area over here. And then what I can do, and I can't remember if I did this or not on the day of, is take some of that same highlighter with a pinky, just apply it to the very, very inner corner. And now, you know the drill, after I do anything, I like to blend it out a little bit more. So I'm not trying to blend this out actually, I'm just trying to like blur out the lines a little bit, make it a little bit less harsh and make it kind of melt into my skin a little bit better. Now we can apply the rest of our products. So I'm going to be using a mascara, black mascara. This is the Essence Lash Princess, the green one. And I definitely used false eyelashes on the day of, but I am not in the mood to do that today, so I won't be doing that. Keep in mind that false eyelashes affect the makeup look quite a bit. They make a very dramatic difference. I tend to like a little bit of a featherier lash. These are a little bit clumpier than I'd want to, and I think that's because my eyeliner exploded into my eyelashes as well. So there's still some of that product as well left onto my eyelashes. But I think it actually adds to the effect of that like retro style, the twiggy lashes from the 60s. Anybody knows what I'm talking about. Let me try to build this up a little bit more. Since I'm not using false lashes, I do want to make it as dramatic as I can with just the mascara. Okay, so I've built up the upper lashes a little bit more than I normally would, just because I'm not using false lashes and I do want that slightly dramatic effect of the lashes to come through. If you are prone to watery eyes, if you're prone to your lower lash line mascara smudging, I would definitely recommend using a different kind of waterproof mascara, but I don't usually have any type of problem with this, my lower lash mascara. So I'm going to use the same mascara on my lower lash line, and I'm going to load them up for now. So I am going slightly more dramatic with the lower lashes this time. And then what I'm going to do is take a clean, where is it? Ah, there it is. A clean type of spoolie, and rake that through the lower lashes just to get out any of the clumps. While I do want there to be definition on the lower lashes, I don't want it to be clumpy. And as you can see, I did smudge a little bit of mascara right here at the corner. So what I'm going to do is wait for that to dry a little bit, and then I can use the same spoolie and just kind of scratch that off gently. I really love this brow gel. In the meantime, I will use my e.l.f. Wow Brow to set my eyebrows in place. Like, I feel like it's undetectable as a brow gel, but it really just adds, oh man, so much definition to each one of your hairs without being too like laminated looking or anything. I don't think that this has the strongest hold, but I also don't need the strongest hold, in my opinion. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the lips. First, I'm going to remove the product that was already on there. Whatever highlighter, foundation, and lip balm I already had on there. On my Nikkah day, I used the combination of Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk Lip Cheat lip liner and her Pillow Talk lipstick. Nowadays, I feel like I'd be more inclined to change up the lip liner to something a little bit deeper. So I would go in with something like the e.l.f. lip liner in Baddest Beige, or more of a contour shade, really anything besides the exact same match. But I think for the purpose of this video, and because I haven't done it for a very long time, I think I will use this Pillow Talk one. So I'm just gonna line my lips. Even after applying my lip balm, my lips are so dry. I know that this combination was made popular by a lot of the Bollywood actresses and celebrities on their wedding day. But I just want to say that I think I got married before all of them. So I wasn't copying them. And I also know that one of the issues with this lip combo is that it doesn't suit many people, especially ones with a deeper skin tone than mine. And I think even Charlotte Tilbury knew that, so she came out with her other Pillow Talk lipsticks since. So she has Pillow Talk Medium and Pillow Talk Deep, I believe. So if those are better suited to your skin tone, then I would definitely recommend those. I actually own a lipstick that is a dupe for the Pillow Talk Medium shade, and I really like that on my skin tone as well. That's the lip cheat on, and I'm going to blend that into my lips, and then I will go on with the lipstick. And that's what the lipstick looks like. I really do like it, I'll have to admit. Luckily these shades, if you can't get your hand on Pillow Talk, like Pillow Talk have been duped by like so many other brands at this point, so you can definitely find other alternatives, but I do like that combination on me. Okay, I'm gonna go back in and just remove this little mascara mistake, and then I'm gonna check to see if I have any other ones too. Okay, as a final step, once I'm happy with the makeup, which I think I am actually for now, I like to go back in and add in some beauty marks. I'm not really creating anything, I'm just kind of adding the ones that I naturally have back in case I covered them. So I actually use a brow tint pen. This one's by Milani. And I never really liked this for my brows. I think it's a little too warm. But I do like to use it to add back in certain beauty marks after a makeup look. And I just apply it. And then I like to tap it out just to make it a little bit more diffuse and a little bit more natural looking. Okay, I'll do this one over here. And another thing is you can do this over blemishes as well. I don't typically do that just because I like to have a little bit more consistency with my makeup. And I think that's all the ones that I want to highlight. It's like a very minor difference, but okay, so that is actually the makeup look done. I really like it, how it turned out as well. It's glowy, but it's mattified in the correct areas. There's a little bit of shine in some places. Matte lips, I really like the way that the lips turned out. One thing that I could do finally is I think a little bit of the eyeliner has transferred down to my lower lash line. So I might just touch that up by removing it with a Q-tip and reapplying that nude liner. This is showing you kind of how it would look if you were to wear it on an everyday basis, party makeup, well, not an everyday basis, but like if you're going somewhere to an event or something like that, that's how you would wear it. But I think what I'll try to do is find some jewelry to show you what it would look like on a Nikkah bride. Okay, I did my best. I looked for my Nikkah dupatta and then I realized that I don't think I have that with me at this place. I think it's at my parents' place. I found the sticker and I found a random dupatta and I put it together. This is just to give you an idea of what it would look like with a little bit more of a traditional setting. I'll try to put in some pictures of my actual Nikkah day, what it actually looks like. I didn't actually have professional photography at that time. It was a super intimate event, but I will put that in for reference as well. But I really hope you enjoy this look. I hope you give it a try. Let me know if you have any questions, any comments, and definitely tag me or let me know if you try this out at some point. I'm thinking about trying to recreate my Bharat look next, so if you'd want to see that, then let me know as well. But yeah, comment, like, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It helps my channel out a lot, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!